We are continuing our segment this week called Inside the Game. With me again is Dr. Jason Pittman. Jason, welcome back.
Thanks again, Dan.
Up to now, we've been focusing on national cybersecurity competitions. Let's talk about some international cybersecurity competitions. One that caught my attention this week is SecCon in Japan. The SecCon finals drew 24 teams from 7 nations: Taiwan, the United States, Japan, Poland, Russia, South Korea, and China. Jason, cybersecurity competitions are a national game in this country, but they're also an international game. What are some of the differences at the international level?
Well, you see the same types of competitions. I mean, CTF is CTF no matter where you play it, but the way it's played can be different between the cultures.
Have you been to an international competition?
I have. We've had some teams actually compete in ICTF up in Santa Barbara, which has grown to be a very popular international competition.
Now, is the level of play at a higher level, let's say at a CCDC level or another national competition level? Do you see talent, do you see activities, do you see things done that we don't see at a national level?
I think what you see the most as far as a difference in these international competitions, like CodeGate is a Korean competition, SecCon's another good example like you brought up in the beginning. What you see is a difference in the challenges, the construction of the competition, although it might be like, for instance, a Jeopardy competition like CodeGate, and we're used to that format in our national competitions, the constructions of the puzzles or the challenges or whatever you want to call them is quite different sometimes.
So for students that are just starting, they may be playing, say, at a little league level in a cybersecurity competition, but this is really the true national pro league.
Yeah, I think it's a very interesting experience for players because they can see how other cultures approach solving what's essentially the same problem.
And where do you think this is going? Are we going to see international competitions continue to grow, and will we ever have a World Series, or do we have that now today where we have teams that play for a national level? Is DEF CON actually a way that you can qualify through a competition to play in the World Series of cybersecurity competitions?
In fact, so I think, Dan, with cyber competitions, we can have a true world champion, unlike the NFL or the NHL or some of the pro sports that we're used to seeing. DEF CON is the premier competition. We mentioned that a lot. And it does facilitate international participation. But you're seeing more and more, like SecCon, for instance, of these true international competitions serving as pipelines for DEF CON.
And is it fair to say that a few of the students that really get the bug now and start going through the competitions in the middle schools and the high schools and into college will end up on these world teams?
I think they have a strong chance of competing. If you look at the rankings for SecCon, there's 2 teams in the top 4 from the U.S. In fact, the #1 team is a U.S. team.
And that's the Carnegie Mellon plaid
Department of Poning. Yeah, yeah.
Great.
PPP appears #1 in a lot of competitions, and it's good to see them.
Thank you, Jason.
Thanks, Dan.
Microsoft announced this week that it is opening its 5th Cybercrime Satellite Center in Singapore. Set up as an extension of the Microsoft Cybercrime Center in Redmond, Washington, this center joins 4 others in Beijing, Berlin, Tokyo, and Washington, and will be one of 12 satellite centers that Microsoft aims to set up globally. Cybercrime is an international epidemic and requires international teams with the right skills to fight this problem. International cybersecurity competitions are one training ground to develop this talent. At CyberFed, we realize that cybersecurity competitions are international. Because of this, we now have a new logo for the Cybersecurity Competition Federation that reflects the global reach of cybersecurity competitions. If you have a competition you would like us to cover in a future show, please contact us at cyberfed.org. I'm Dan Manson. See you next week.